Hi and welcome back to the Revival of the Fittest YouTube channel. Here we're going to take a look at some technical pieces of the 1965 Li super convertible tractor. It comes from factory with an either Champion W14 or W18 spark plug. Alternate versions of that is the Autolite 3076, Champion 569, or Champion 518. I'll link those in the description. Here we have a .030 feeler gauge to measure the spark gap of this spark plug here. We've already sanded it down. Any of the normal sockets we had weren't working on these W14 spark plugs here. So we had to use a rubber mallet and this big socket, which is meant for plumbers and to use with showers. We used a rubber mallet, hit it down with some force and a lot of penetrating oil to try and get in there and just turn it. You may need to use some heat as well, but what we did worked very well and it came right out. We'll move on to the air filter here. This one is a L832D. There are other models such as the P1748 or FRAM CA687. We'll move on to the oil filter here, which is unreadable and crusty. We'll be replacing it with this FRAM PH8A. The other model that works with this tractor is a Baldwin B2, which I'll have linked in the description for anyone interested. But this oil filter should come off nice and easy. You can see how rusted it really is. We'll leave the oil filter off here so we can pump air through it to get rid of the rest of the bad oil once we're done replacing it. Here's the oil cap, and there's the chamber in which we're filling the oil. We think it's going to be easier to get rid of the oil if we remove the attachment first, so that's what we're going to do. It's off. I'm going to see if this comes out. That is some black oil. Now that we've drained as much oil as we can, we're going to use compressed air and see if we can push as much as we can that's left of it through.
I think that I have mentioned that I added a bunch of vinegar to the frozen piston head to try and free things up. While we wait for that to do its thing, let's discuss a number of different things while looking at some still images I've taken. As you saw before, I removed as many parts from the carburetor I was able to get out without much issues. I then dipped them into some carb cleaner for a few hours. I ordered a kit online that came with some new parts and gaskets. One important note that I learned the hard way is the original float seal, which says 35 on it, is not the same as what came in my Chinese kit. The threading is different and the entire piece was slightly too big to thread itself into the carb. I spoke with Todd at GTU Gravley and he was able to get many of my questions squared away. The official Zenith carb kits they have fit the float seal very well. I recommend calling them with any questions you might have about the Model L tractors, and will include their website and phone info in the description below. Todd was very knowledgeable about all aspects of these tractors, and as you'll see, I ordered a whole host of new parts I'll be installing. While we're on the subject of carburetors, my other Model Li has a Zenith 9995C carb. It looks just a touch different, the gasket isn't as pointy on the top, and I'm cleaning out this carburetor as well in the hopes we can get more than one of these tractors to start. Next up, let's talk about the glass sediment bowl. This part lives just under the gas tank and is supposed to screen out rust or particles that might be in the gas. The guys at GT Gravley sent me this kit, and I was able to make the new screen work even though it was just a bit too big. The quart gasket though was too big. The original rubber one is pretty chewed up, but for the time being, we'll see if it holds out. So, this brings us back to our frozen piston. After soaking in vinegar and using some superfine sandpaper, I proceeded to use PV Blaster and even a product called Croil. As you can see here, the piston on this model says STD and is the original standard piston. So, this 1965 model has not been rebored. My 1957 Li has a .01 piston, and it too was frozen up. After all the oiling and a bit of pounding with a wood block and rubber mallet, both of these engines freed up nicely. Before we test our magnetos and fire things up, I'm going to repaint what I can. So stay tuned for that in my upcoming episode. Don't forget to like, subscribe, click the bell, and check out gtgravely.com. Thanks for watching and have a good day.